A waterfall response is where you type your answer in the chat, and then you don't press enter until you hear the ding, the timer go off, and then all the responses will cascade like a waterfall into the chat, and then we can analyze them together. So we're reflecting. The question, or the quote that he gives at the end of the video is that it's a breakaway book. A breakaway book is a book about breaking away from life as usual. So when Henry David Thoreau goes to Walden Pond for 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days, as it states in the video, he goes there and he's escaping. He is breaking away from society. We all have one of those breakaway tools, whether it's maybe a book that you like to read, or listening to music, or whatever it is. Thoreau and many transcendentalists use nature as a way to break away from life. What is your breakaway tool? How do you escape the stress? So think about, don't type your answer yet. Think about your response briefly, and then type your answer in the chat box, but don't press enter until you hear the ding. Okay, so I'm going to put 90 seconds on the clock. I want you to reflect on this question, think about your answer to the question, and then you can start typing. And then whenever the timer goes off in 90 seconds, then you can press enter, and your answers will cascade like a beautiful waterfall. I'll stop talking right now and give you time to reflect. Your question is, what is your breakaway tool? How do you escape stress? Starting now. Okay, hopefully you've reflected long enough. You should start typing now. So everyone should start their typing, and hold your enter button, or don't press your enter, but don't hold your enter button. Don't press your enter button until the timer goes off in about 45 seconds. Start coming to a close. 3, 2, 1, go. Beautiful. Look at that cascading waterfall. All right, so I encourage you all to scroll up. Start at, it shouldn't take too long to scroll up, but we can start. Dawson says rodeo. Tiffany says not being home. Hanging out with friends, says Benjamin. Playing with dogs. Favorite TV show, or walking to the library. Great. Music, working out. Haley says reading, sketching, daydreaming, listening to music, surfing YouTube. PS4. I'm more of an Xbox kind of guy, Jaden, but I get where you're coming from there. Playing instruments. Elizabeth just ignores the stress. That's a good tool too. For some people, it's good for some people. Some people can't. You have to do something to let it go. Courtney's a dancer. Choreographing songs, choreographing dances. That's awesome. Sleeping, reading, exercise, yoga, music. Zayad's an online gamer. Talon says riding his four-wheeler and listening to music. Food. I think we can all relate to the food. Mr. Thompson says relaxing in his recliner and watching football. And if football isn't on, his wife and he go out to eat or go shopping without the kids. Without the kids, that's the key right there. So, all right, excellent, guys. Great responses. So when transcendentalists, their breakaway tool would be, of course, nature. And as we've been discussing for the past week, we're talking the difference between transcendentalists and Enlightenment thinkers is Enlightenment thinkers would ask, how can I use nature? I can cut down this tree and make a house, or I can kill that animal and eat it and use its skin for clothes or whatever. Transcendentalists, they don't worry about how they can use nature. It's all about how they can experience nature, because like we read in the poem Each and All, we are universal, one with nature. And I know that sounds kind of hippie or whatever, but we are one with nature, and that's where we belong. And in that poem, Each and All, Emerson's poem, when he removes an item from nature, it loses what makes that item unique or beautiful. And it kind of matches, it applies to humans as well, was the point that Emerson was making. So transcendentalists use they're no, they experience nature as their way of breaking away from society, rejecting conformity. He brought, I mean, he did use things like, obviously the cabin was made out of wood. That's a good question, Evan. But just because these people were interested in experiencing nature doesn't mean that they didn't use nature. Of course, he had to eat. He had to but it's what you'll find when you read this essay that we're looking at today, Walden by Henry David Thoreau. You're going to find comments about simplifying your life, reducing things. I don't have that passage included in this lesson today, but it is something that you will read whenever you read the story by yourself. We're not covering the whole